does that even mean, Bowers Game Corner?
Ahoy there, YouTube! I'm back again today for another game review. Today we're excited to check out Tiny Ninjas from Tooniverse. This is for 2 players, take about 15 minutes to play, and it's for ages 8+. And Tiny Ninjas is a ninja dueling game in which you're going to be rolling dice, playing down cards, trying to ninja chop your opponent. There's going to be 2 different types of dice, a whole variety of cards that will do a bunch of different things. There's different types of attacks in this game. They cram quite a lot of stuff into this tiny little box, but is the stuff good? Let's open it up, and I'll tell you what I think. Alrighty then, we're going to take a look at what you're going to get inside of Tiny Ninjas. So first and foremost, we have a handy-dandy rule booklet. It's probably about 16 pages, double-sided, full color, full of pictures, illustrations, examples, and it's a little bit of a mess. I'm going to be brutally honest with you here. It's all kind of discombobulated. It's like, hey, here's a picture, and here's the watch it played, but then there's another picture, and here's the general rules, and then this is more specific on the attack and defend, and here's some stuff about the dice and the roll icons. Here's if you want to play Advanced Ninjas, and then here's some Kickstarter stretch goal with through in there. Oh, but now we're back to the gameplay, and here's a gameplay flow chart if you want that. And over here we got the different game modes, but you can click on the QR code, and it just doesn't have a good ebb and flow to the rule booklet. That being said, it's not a bad rule booklet. It's a little bit of an annoying rule booklet that could have been laid out in a much more effective manner, but still, hey, it gets the job done. So in Tiny Ninjas, you're going to be playing as one of 2 ninjas, and you're going to be battling to the death. Now, I do want to mention that this is the box right here, so a huge shout out to Longpack for making this box. And I'll disassemble this box at some point in the middle so you can see. But this box is really cool. So what you're going to be doing in this game is you're going to be playing as a ninja, and your job is to try and knock the other ninja's health from 10 to 0. If you do that, then you will win the game. You're going to do that by playing cards, rolling dice. So let's go over how the game works. So first and foremost, there's going to be cards, and more cards. And there's a whole bunch of cards in the game. A lot of them are duplicates. I think a couple of them are duplicates. And they say on the bottom left how many of the duplicates there are. But yeah. And on these, generally, you're going to have an attack number on the top and a defense number on the bottom. And there's 2 different colors of attack. There's red attack, and then there's blue attacks. And then yellow defends against everything. So if I were to attack right here, I'm either going to do 1 through 4 damage of red. And if someone wants to block it, they need to use red to block it, or yellow to block it. And this will make more sense when I show the actual example. Next, you're going to have these 2 dice right here, and these are going to be the dice you're going to be rolling to see how much you attack and how much you defend. And it looks really confusing at first because there's lots of iconography, and you're going to be rolling a specific die looking at specific things each time, but I'll explain that when we get into the mock turn, and it'll all make sense really, really fast. But yes, everybody gets a player aid card, both players, and they are really useful. Next, we got these little tokens right here. These are, I think these were part of a Kickstarter stretch goal, but essentially these are going to allow you to do a special ability, 3 times per game. So you go boop, 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 and then eventually it just goes away and you can't use it anymore. But you got to pick your special ability throughout the game. So it's going to make you attack a little bit better, or defend a little bit better, or heal. So I'm not really going to go too much into those, but they are nice to play with, and I do like the fact they included with them. So let's show you how the game works. So both players are going to draw up to 5 cards like so. And you're going to randomly pick who the first attacker is, and then they're going to start attacking. So they're going to look at their cards, and I'll just show you a card so you can see exactly how it works. So if I decided to do this card, then what I'm doing is I'm going to be either doing 1 or 2 damage. And this is a special one. This is a sneak attack. So I'm going to be looking for that symbol, and as you can see, boom, it matches that die right there. So I'm going to roll the dice, and I'm either going to get 1, 2, or 3 on it. So it's either going to be 1 white, which in this case will deal 1 damage, 2 black, which in this case will deal 2 damage, or the 3 black, in which case the defender just automatically loses 2 health. They can't block it. So let's roll it up and see what happens. So it's 1, which means I am dealing 1 damage to my opponent. So I play that card down, and now my opponent has a decision to make. They can either just take that 1 point of damage, just go down to 9, or they can decide to block it with one of their cards. So they have 2 cards that block blue. They do have 1 card that blocks red. Ooh, but this is a really good healing card, so they might want to hold on to that. They've got a really good card that can block yellow. So you know what? They're probably just going to take this 1 point of damage. So boom, just take the 1 point of damage, and this goes into the discard pile of the dojo. This is the dojo where you're going to be picking up new ninjas. So now it's back to the attacker, and the attacker can attack again if they would like. But here's the catch to the game. The attacker can use all of their cards to attack, but you only draw back up to your hand when you're the defender. So if I spend all 5 of my cards, then I'm going to have nothing to defend myself from this guy right here. So that's the real catch in the game. So, you know what? He probably would do another attack. Let's see. Ooh. Oh, that's a great card, but not right now. Let's see what Doom does. Blindly take defender's cards equal to rolled value and send them to the arena. The defender loses these cards and does not redraw. So I can steal cards with that one. Ooh, this one. Wager. This is the gambler. First, the defender guesses a color, orange, green, or purple. The attacker then rolls the shuriken die. If the defender is correct, the attacker loses 1 health. The defender is wrong. Yeah, we're going to do this one. We'll do the wager. So, the defender is going to guess a color, either orange, green, or purple on this die. So they would guess purple. They would be incorrect, which means the defender loses 2 health. And I think that one is actually unblockable as well. So that would be 2 more health gone from them. So ha 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 ha. And then I would be done for now. And then this person would now take turns attacking me. So let's see. Yeah, they'll do this one. So this one is going to allow them to do between 1 and 6 damage. And they're just going to, what's that symbol mean? Well, it means you're going to roll the shuriken die. And however many little points you have on it is how much damage you're going to do. So let's see what we got. That's 2 damage because there's 2 points right there. So they would be dealing 2 points of red, and then I would have a choice. Can I block it? Yeah, I can. I can with this. Yeah, I'll use this one. So boom, I'll play this one down, and we'll look at the symbol on the die so you can see how it works. So no roll needed. So the player aid card is like super useful because it tells you exactly what happens. So I would block all of that, and then they could potentially attack me again. I'll do one more attack. Oh, yeah. Ooh, so we'll do this one right here. So they're either going to do 0, 2, or 5 damage, depending on what they roll on here. So let's see what they get. They got 0 damage. But there you go. You're going to continue going back and forth until someone has killed the other ninja, at which point that person will be the winner of Tiny Ninjas. And that, in a nutshell, is how the game is played. Oh, but I did want to show you how the box breaks down real quick, because that is super nice. And another thing that I really like about this box is it does this. Yeah, I know some of you out there are cringing. Look at that. That's how you make a magnetic class box. That's how you do it, yellow. Alrighty then, Tiny Ninjas from Tooniverse. What are my final thoughts? Let's go over the pros, let's go over the cons. First, on the con side, 2 players, very restricted player count. Also, while I am going to tell you that I really like this as a family 2-player game. Like, the kids in my class went nuts for this game. They really like the game. You have to make sure that the kids are really good at reading the cards and understanding what the cards do. Because, especially when you're playing the advanced mode, and the advanced mode is the way to go. It's just a lot more fun, in my personal opinion, because there's all sorts of different cards that do a whole bunch of different things. There's a lot of reading. It's very reading intensive, and you have kids that don't understand what the cards do. They're gonna have a bad time. So, that's that. Also, it says 15 minutes on the box. When you're playing the more advanced game, probably not going to be the case. It's probably going to stretch closer to the 20 to 30 minute mark because there's going to be a lot of healing and a lot of cards that do a lot of different things and just more time spent per round. I will say that if you're playing the base game, just the generic base game without the special abilities, it's a much snappier style game. So if that's what you're looking for, then you're probably going to want to just play the base game, even though I do think the legs on the more expanded game are much longer. Any of the cons that I have with the game, you know, it's very light, it's very simple, it's luck. It's a lot of luck. Because, I mean, what cards you happen to pick up is huge. How you roll the dice, huge. I mean, in the example, I could have done 0 damage, 2 damage, or 5 damage. Dealing 5 damage, that's a big deal. Also, this game is pretty unforgiving. Like, if you screw up and you use all your cards, then you're probably going to die. Because the other person is just going to slap you down. So you do have to really learn how to do card management, which sometimes kids have a hard time doing. It'll lead to situations in the game, and I think not most of the game, but 2 or 3 games that we played this ended this way, where someone thought they could kill somebody else off, and so they spent all their cards, and then they failed, and then it was kind of anticlimactic, because it was like, well, guess I'm dead now. And that's a little bit unfortunate. Really kind of grasping for straws here on the cons, because moving on to the pros, I really like Tiny Ninjas. Do I think this is a game I'm going to bust out with adults? Maybe. I did like the advanced game enough that I would play this with adults. So far, I've only played it in my classroom with kids, like 9 or 10 times, because like I said, the kids were absolutely nuts about this. But I feel like the bread and butter for this game is definitely going to be if you have gamers age 8 to say 15 years old, they're really going to like this game. And that's why I'm actually going to be keeping this game. It's compact and portable. I really like the components, like Long Pack, who that's a manufacturer. They knocked it out of the park. Like, the production quality on this is really cool. You're going to open it. It looks good. It's got that table appeal kind of thing where you can be rolling the dice, and it's got the dojo and the box, you assemble it up, so you got the little courtyard where people are fighting. And I like the fact that, the Kickstarter stretch goals were actually really cool, because it essentially just gives you like that little extra special ability. Like, oh, I can deal 1 extra damage here, or I can heal here, or I can defend here. And so I like adding that in as well. So that was not too complex for the kids. So if you start off with just the vanilla version without the fancy cards, then you slowly, bump it up, and you start using the little pieces that say, I get +1 here, +1 there, and then you can get into the cards. So I do like how the game scaffolds its way up. And there's not really too much to tell you. It's just a fun little dice rolling game. There's enough cards to really keep you interested in what cards you draw. And sometimes there's some interesting decisions with the cards. I like how they did that, because it's like, man, I really like this card on defense, but right now it might be the time to strike and use it on offense. And I thought that was an interesting balancing act. So there you go. Tiny Ninjas from Tooniverse. Definitely can recommend this. I would say this is a great family weight game. The kids in my class really stick and enjoyed it. And that's another thing too. Once the kids start to understand what all the different symbols mean, either that or they're using the player aid card, which I've noticed kids really freaking hate player aid cards for some reason. Once they start using that player aid card and they understand how they need to roll the dice, which dice they need to roll, and what the different faces on the dice mean, this is a game that I think kids can easily teach themselves. It almost becomes like a children's game as long as you're playing with the vanilla version of the game without the fancy cards. So that's also pretty awesome as well. So you have more than one kid. Maybe you got 2 kids, say 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years old. They can definitely be dueling each other a lot with this one. Also, that's another thing that I forgot to mention. I didn't really think about it, but this is really portable. And this is the kind of thing where if you set it up the right way, you could easily play this on like an airplane or play this at a restaurant or something like that, just based on how they made the game. It's all very self-contained. You keep the cards in your hand. You can play the cards down in the dojo, roll the dice down here in the little dojo field right there. That's really well done. I'm done, though. Tiny Ninjas. I think this is a great family weight game. Absolute recommendation. If you have kids aged 8 to, say, 15 years old, you're going to have a lot of fun with this. Or if you like lighter 2-player dueling games, I think this one will also fit that bill as well. So, Tiny Ninjas from Tooniverse. If you enjoyed this review, please be sure to click on that subscribe button down below. If you want to support the channel, click on that little Amazon link in the show notes. Buy anything on Amazon. Throws a couple pennies my way. It really does help support the channel. And in the comments below, let me know, what is your favorite ninja movie ever? Or a movie that has a ninja in it? Oh, man. This is going to sound terrible. For some reason, the movie that just popped in my head was Lethal Weapon 4 with Jet Li. So yeah, I'm going to go with Lethal Weapon 4. I really like that movie. You know what? That's one of my biggest movie disappointments ever. Because what they were trying to do was, because that was the one that had Mel Gibson, and it had Danny Glover, and it had Chris Rock, and it had Danny DeVito. And they were trying to pass the torch from Danny Glover to Chris Rock, and I would have loved to have seen a Lethal Weapon 5 with a Mel Gibson and a Chris Rock character, and still the Danny DeVito character, but now the roles are reversed, where Mel Gibson's getting too old for this stuff. But yeah, let me know in the comments below. What's your favorite ninja movie? And as always, thanks for your time, YouTube.